Hello everyone, and welcome to Aetherfall. My name is Brian, and over the next couple of weeks I will be releasing several videos detailing my ideas for a new game called Aetherfall, including both technical and creative aspects. As I release each video, I'd love to hear any constructive criticisms you all have. The game is still only an idea, and as such I believe there is a great opportunity to grow this idea with all your help. I will be using pictures to help give the look and feel of the game, and unless otherwise indicated, these pictures are not my own. Let's get started. Aetherfall is a collaborative idea for a role-playing video game with both fantasy and futuristic concepts, taking inspiration from many role-playing games both distant and recent. Because of these inspirations, the game will have a post-apocalyptic medieval feel to it, including ruined cities, castles, magic, and guns. First, a little background of the world. Aetherfall takes place in the fictional country of Zateria, which is coming off a crippling war known as the Aetherian War against another supernation named Zuzia. The war left an intense and invisible magical energy called aether all around the planet. This magic energy affects both the player and other living beings in a variety of ways, including providing the energy necessary to cast spells, but also harming the player when too much is absorbed. An important feature to note is that magic does not regenerate in non-magical areas, which is quite different from most games with a magic system. The map where the game will take place is Aldera, the southern province of Zateria, which has a crescent shape to it. What you see now is what Aldera looked like pre-war, and is one of the few maps that I made myself. The climate, demographics, and political attributes of Aldera will be completely different to anything in real life. Aldera was hit with two powerful laser strikes. The first hit a large coastal city in the middle of the crescent, seemingly obliterating the city of Nomani and sinking it into the ocean. This impact expanded the Bay of Nomani further east, with the winds carrying the residual magical radiation west. This magic created a thick jungle filled with dangers and mysteries for the player to explore at high levels. This jungle separates the north and south sides of Aldera, and provides a natural barrier to early level players. A thin strait does however exist at the western edge of this jungle, giving the player an option to avoid it in the early game. The second laser strike hit just north of Aldera, striking right along a fault line. The blast created seismic activity unparalleled, tearing Aldera from the rest of continental Zateria and creating a new coastline along the northern border. This is what Aldera looks like post-war. As you can see, the bay has grown in size, the jungle has popped up, and Aldera is now an island. Finally, the climate of Aldera, Zateria, and the rest of the world were thrown into chaos after the war. After several hundred years, the north is a temperate and cool climate, with pine trees and snow in specific areas. Most of its people have remained relatively normal, while others have slipped into a barbarian-like culture. South of the jungle is a low-altitude tropical place with warm beaches and swamps more inland. These people are a bit more insane and have a combination of pirate and redneck culture. Meanwhile, Nomani was not completely destroyed and was rebuilt by its people, who transformed into semi-aquatic life forms that resemble merfolk. Nomani has become the hub city to all these humanoids. With the world laid out, I'll discuss the main playable character of the game. Like most RPGs, I think it would be best for this playable character to be mute. Role-playing is at its best when the player feels in control of who their player is and what they're gonna say. At the same time, the amount of work necessary to voice a protagonist would not be worth the effort. When starting the game, the player will be able to choose their name and then answer a list of questions that determine their starting stats, which I feel is a much more fluent system than assigning points. In general terms, the protagonist will be called the Unknown by NPCs to address them, which will become apparent once I explain the story. This character is a complete blank slate, having no memory and no backstory prior to the events of the game. However, the player will have the opportunities, when asked, to provide what they feel the character's backstory is. For example, if an NPC were to ask the player what they do for a living, the player can answer in a variety of ways, including I was a merchant, I was an adventurer, I simply don't know, or it's none of your business, or even it's just complicated. My goal with the Protagonist is not to box the player in whatsoever, to provide them with an empty canvas. Now, I realize I've thrown a lot at you all in a short amount of time. I want to reiterate that while I have a few ideas out there, most are not set in stone, and your own ideas would be more than welcome. Starting in the next video, we'll delve into what the main story of Aetherfall is, and how the Protagonist is involved. I'm excited to share this video as it will have a storytime vibe to it. Make sure to comment if you have any questions, and follow to keep up with the channel. This has been Brian, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye for now.